Why did they cancel the Lake Guntersville Open Bass Fishing Tournament? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. If you're new, my name is Steve Chapman. The Guntersville Open Bass Fishing Tournament is held on New Year's Day and also Black Friday. They have held this tournament for numerous years. They have now canceled it. And I'm going to read some of their statement and also put it up on the screen. After a great deal of discussion and consideration, we've made the difficult decision to no longer host the annual Rex Chambers Black Friday tournament and the New Year's Bass tournament on Lake Guntersville. This decision did not come lightly. In light of the recent tragedy that occurred during a tournament on Smith Lake and the legal outcomes that followed, we've had many long conversations about the risks and responsibilities involved in running a public event on the water. And I need to make sure I reiterate, a public event. That's the key word. Ultimately, we cannot justify putting our livelihoods in the hands of others operating vessels under our name. Now, they are going to close their Facebook page permanently. And I need to thank Booster for sending this to me. I did read about this a couple days ago, and I was not sure if I was going to do a video about it. And then I started to think of the ramifications that accident that happened on Smith Lake is now reverberating throughout the industry, throughout the hobby, throughout the sport. And nobody wants to see anyone get hurt on the water. But when you look at just this past weekend, we had another person, 25-year-old, who lost his life in a boat crash. We found out that there were 46 boat crashes on Norris Lake in 2025, which is astronomically high. And we hear of boat accidents, not always fatal, but boat accidents that are happening nonstop. Some of them aren't bass boats. And then you read the comments in this post, and you can go to the Guntersville Open Bass Tournament Facebook page. And there are a lot of people that commented, great comments. Why don't you start an LLC? Why don't you have everyone sign waivers? What about more insurance or speed regulations or screen size? Or all great comments. But we have to remember, nobody wants to have someone hurt in their bass fishing tournament. And for the public safety, I appreciate what they're doing. I also don't like it either, because it starts to make me question if we're going to not see lakes start doing this, or holding organizations to a higher standard, or making sure that the anglers that are out there bass fishing on these lakes, that they know the ramifications of what could happen, and that we need to make some changes in bass fishing tournaments. It can be size, it can be screens blocking your view, it can be making sure that phones aren't on, it could be all sorts of things. But as a community, we need to come together and not only support their decision, but try to figure out how we can be better and make these bass fishing tournaments happen without these accidents. The Smith Lake accident was absolutely horrible for a lot of reasons. We had 3 people that lost their lives. We had 3 people that lost their lives because that angler was distracted. I don't know if speed had anything in play. I think at any speed, if you hit and run over a boat, it doesn't matter what's going on at that speed. You are going to hurt people. And that Smith Lake accident is now coming back to haunt bass fishing tournaments that people love, because that Guntersville Open Bass Fishing Tournament is on Black Friday and New Year's, is very well attended. You can go on their Facebook page. They were doing things before computers pretty much, or not really, but where it wasn't all automated, where it was handwritten down. And those little tournaments are great to get your feet wet in fishing and finding out if that's what you want to do later on. And while I don't want to put the blame on the Smith Lake incident, it's a big part of what's going on in our industry right now. And the talks that lakes are having and cities are having that want to that might not want to host those events and the money that they put out to have those tournaments show up. And we, as a community, need to come together and figure out a way that we're more involved in making this hobby better, making this sport better, and making it so these accidents don't happen. And accidents are going to happen, for sure. But to think that Norris Lake has had 46 boat accidents in 2025 is absolutely ridiculous. And not all bass fishing tournaments, but they've had 46 fishing vessels. People got hurt or accidents in 2025. Why is that? And we need to look at the data behind it and try to figure out how to make it better. And here are my 3 questions to you. Could the Smith Lake tragedy change the outcome of future fishing tournaments? Will other lakes make adjustments to tournament organizations and make sure that there's more precaution happening and hopefully less accidents? And third, how do you think this will affect tournament bass fishing? I think that the Smith Lake was horrible. And while I can see both sides of the story of canceling this, just because it's a public event, they don't want that responsibility of the legal outcomes that could happen. That makes sense. At the same time, if we have things in place where anglers and the tournament bass fishing anglers, fishermen know that they can't do certain things, or there's speed or whatever, would that justify allowing this tournament to come back? And again, I can see both sides of the story, and I think both sides stink. That's the problem. But we need to figure out a way to improve the safety of everyone, including making sure everyone wears their PFD. That's the biggest thing. The Norris Lake, this past weekend on Norris Lake, they said that the angler who lost his life might not have had his PFD on. And that just is stupid. And it stinks. But comment below and tell me what you think. That's what I want to know. Thanks to all the new subscribers and members and everyone who's interactive on this channel. It's a humbling experience. You guys I really appreciate that you support the channel in whatever way that you're doing it. If it's by hitting the like button, by figuring out how to hit that hype button, that I have no idea how you hit the hype button, but if you hit the hype button, it actually helps this channel grow faster. And that's the ultimate goal. That's why I do the videos. I want to see the channel continue to evolve and get better in every way. Sometimes you're going to agree with me, sometimes you're going to disagree with me. That is perfectly fine. I appreciate the constructive criticism, and I also appreciate when you give me your opinion on what you think is going to happen or what is happening. Even if you don't agree with me, it's all right. But be professional about it. If you're going to come on here and slam me, I'm not going to reply to you, and you'll just get a common reply, and I'm not going to put anything into it. I appreciate and respect everyone who does come on here. I try to make sure I reply to all comments. So thank you. But if you're not a subscriber, click that like and subscribe, and click that notification bell so you know when the next video drops. And if you know what the hype button is, do me a favor, hit that hype button, and thank you. Remember, take a kid fishing, tight lines cheers, and get your fish on.